This is a quick screencast just to talk you through the slides that go with my workshop. The start of the year, very traditional looking classroom. And this is actually about day 1 or day 2 of the year. Age-old problem, how to fit 31 kids into a smallish and old classroom. And what happened was I actually had been thinking about and experimenting with different ways of running my classroom when I came across a blog post from Sean about his visit to Jackie Sharp's digital classroom. And I got some ideas from that. And I set up my classroom, I reset it up, and instead of giving kids individual desks, they then became part of a group rather than having a desk, and they rotated around workstations. Well, what happened was we ended up with too much traffic happening, and the computers were still at the side of the classroom. And here are 4 groups in action, and but what happened was that every group rotated at the same time. So 31 kids on the move at one time creates a lot of noise, and there's a lot of time that was wasted. It wasn't efficient, and it wasn't doing what I wanted, and the computers were still on the side, and I didn't want that. I then did some more reading and researching, and I came across the idea of pulling the computers out and putting them into the middle of the classroom. And I spent one weekend doing that, and the result was students were still in groups. They belonged to the groups. Each group had one computer, and they remained with the groups for most activities. Now, in this case, these are not ability groups, they're cross-ability groups. And so here we've got an example, top right-hand corner. You can see some of the groups in action. Bottom right hand, you can see a sort of a high view. I've got 3 computers, the black monitors set up to an expander box, and one other computer in there, so we've got 4 groups in a radial format, and the bottom right and the bottom left show slightly different setups. The bottom left is what I have at the moment, with 2 computers back on back, and basically that's how my classroom is set up. This video is available on the wiki, and this is really my kids, they're playing a maths activity, a variety of maths activities. It's quite a noisy video, but it gives you an overview of what the classroom actually looks like in practice. One of the technical things I had to look at was just a few issues about making sure everyone could see the screen, too many hands on keyboard or mouse, troubleshooting, etc. Curriculum delivery. The start of term 3, I moved to delivering the curriculum via a blog format, combining blog and Google Docs. We still have our publishing blog, which is on EduBlogs, and so I use Blogger for our daily work. I started out with just having a general class blog, and then students would click a link to go to their reading language work, and that would be on another blog, or their maths work, and that would be another blog altogether. And this is a view of, just a picture of the classroom blog. Google Docs were used alongside this, where I was able to do some planning, put in a week's work perhaps, format it, and then save or publish as a web page. It made it quite handy. Some things I used that for: writing, handwriting, topic work, reading work, and maths work as well. And this is an example of a Google Docs, a document just saved as a web page, published as a web page. I then, halfway through the term, moved to looking at how a wiki would work, and because of this, the idea was to come up with a comparison. So we've got wiki spaces. I discovered you can embed just about anything. Very easy to give kids individual accounts. You can password protect pages or lock pages, and it's very easy to recover from an oops. And this is what our wiki looks like. And the thing about the wiki is that everything stays within a banner and a side menu. Here's an example of a YouTube video embedded into a wiki space. And in fact, if you're watching this, you're probably watching it in a wiki as well. Google Docs embedded, and below the Google Docs is an exe file embedded in there. These are other websites that are embedded, so if you want kids to use something on a particular page, you don't want them to go to that page, you can embed the page as well. Some tools used: Hot Potatoes, exe, and Google Docs. Hot Potatoes I've used for close exercises, drag and drop, things like that. These are two examples. One's a drag and drop, and one is a close exercise, and I self-host them in my Dropbox. exe is open source content. It's created in New Zealand, created to work with something like Moodle, uses Wikipedia for source material, and I self-host this as well. And these are just two little examples. In fact, it's the same thing and looking in different format. The bottom one is embedded into the wiki, the top one is just the straight file. The thing about pulling in information from Wikipedia is you can edit it, you can take out the stuff you don't want, you can do things like highlight paragraphs or phrases that you want kids to take particular note of. What next? This has really been an exercise in self-management, still directed by me, but I'm wanting children to actually start to take control of their own learning. And the other thing that I'm working on is to eliminate the what do I do now questions that you get. What I do a lot of small group work, I do a lot of one-on-one work, and I roam. This is an example of self-management. This was the reading language work that was going to happen in the week, and they needed to work their way through that. Okay, what else do we use? We use Edmodo, which is a social networking site set up by teachers. You give students a group code to join. They can't join any other way. They can only send personal private messages to the teachers. We can set assignments. We can do other write notes, send links, attach files, and things like that. I use my iTouch in the classroom. I have some educational games in there, and there might be a couple of kids who've finished some other work, and they can just use my iTouch and do some maths games and things like that. And this is a video from one of my Year 4 students. This is available on the same wiki page, just talking about what we're doing in our classroom. And hopefully that's within 10 minutes. These are ways you can contact me, and I look forward to hearing from people sharing their journeys. Thank you.